Hello. Can I be of assistance?
It's just... Oh.
Oh, what's wrong with
Yes,
him?
miss?
Monsieur Masterman?
Yes.
My name is Antoinette Marceau. I'm assisting Monsieur
Just hiding a
Poirot in
really
his
big stick behind his
inquiries.
back.
Yes, the attendant has explained that to me. The service is quite good, I must say. I prize good service highly, of course. My compliments.
Thank you. I would like to ask you some questions.
Yes,
10
I
out of
expect
10
you would.
avalanche.
I shall help in any way I
Or
can.
get trapped again.
Sir, have you just been standing there like that for however long before I walked in? Yes! Never know when to expect company.
You are the valet of Monsieur Ratchet.
Yes,
May I
Okay.
have your passport, please?
of course. Here you are.
I was hoping
Your
he was just
full
going to say
name, age,
yes
and
for everything.
address.
Edward Henry Masterman, 51. 21 Friar Street, Clerkenwell.
Ooh.
I'd like to take your fingerprints.
That's a rather messy procedure, isn't it? Do you have something I might wipe my hands on afterwards?
Yes, I do.
Napkins? A wet cloth was beyond your capabilities? Well, I suppose they will have to do.
Thank you.
None of that sass, Mr. Masterman. Okay. Ooh.
When did you last see Monsieur Ratchet?
Must have been about 9:35 or 9:40 last night, miss.
I was busy stabbing him.
Oh, how he screamed like a pig.
Can you tell me what happened when you saw Monsieur Ratchet?
I went into Mr. Ratchet as usual, miss, and attended to his wants.
What were your
No,
duties
nothing
exactly?
from you.
No
Fold or
comment.
hang up his clothes, miss. Put his dental plate in water and see that he had everything he needed.
Was his manner the same as usual?
Well, miss, I think he was upset.
In what way upset?
Over a letter he'd been reading. He asked me if it was I who had put it in his compartment. Of course, I told him I hadn't done any such thing, but he swore at me and found fault with everything I did.
Did your master ever take a sleeping draught?
Always when traveling by train, miss. He said he couldn't sleep otherwise. Even the express affected him, I am sorry to say.
Did he take it last night?
I poured it into a glass and put it on the table for him, though I didn't actually see him drink it.
Oh god, it keeps growing.
Was it unusual for him to swear at you?
Oh no, miss. He lost his temper easily. It just depended what had happened to upset him.
Really is a conversation tree. The branches are spreading out more and
Do you
more as
know
we go
what
up.
drug he was in the
Infinite
habit of
number of
taking?
leaves.
I couldn't say I'm sure, miss. There's no name on the bottle. Just sleeping draught and to be taken at bedtime.
That's a bit ominous.
Got it from his friend Jimmy down the street.
When was his usual bedtime? When aboard the train?
Midnight, miss, or later. With the avalanche last night, I fancy he wouldn't fall asleep until closer to 1.
Did you mix his usual dose of the sleeping draught?
A half dose only, miss, at Mr. Ratchet's request. I can't say the reason.
What happened next?
I asked him if there was anything else he required. He asked me to send for Mr. McQueen. Then I left him.
Was Monsieur Ratchet an early riser?
It depended, miss, upon his mood. Sometimes he'd get up for breakfast. Sometimes he wouldn't get up till just on lunchtime. I would wait until the attendant came to collect me.
Did you know that your master had enemies?
Yes, miss. I had heard him discussing some disquieting letters with Mr. McQueen.
Did you like your employer, Masterman?
I should hardly like to say that, miss. He was a generous employer.
But you didn't like him.
Shall we put it that I don't care very much for Americans, miss?
What quaint racism.
Well, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess
Do
it
you
is.
know of any bad blood between your master and Monsieur McQueen?
No, no, miss. Mr. McQueen was a very pleasant gentleman. For an American.
How long have you
What is
been
with
with
him?
Monsieur Ratchet?
Just over 9 months, miss. Before that, I was with Sir Henry Tomlinson in Grosvenor Square. I was with him for several years before he left for East Africa.
Are you a pipe smoker?
No, miss. I only smoke cigarettes. Gaspers, miss.
Do you remember the Armstrong kidnapping case?
I... Well, yes, I remember reading something about it. A little baby girl, wasn't it? Very shocking affair. But what has that...
Your employer, Monsieur Ratchet, was the man behind the kidnapping.
I'm at a loss for words, miss. I can hardly believe it.
I mean, we don't have really much evidence he was behind the kidnapping.
Like, almost none at all. I'm just going on what Poirot says. Lord knows, Poirot was always right.
Have you ever been in America?
No, miss.
What did you do after leaving your master?
I told Mr. McQueen, miss, that the master wanted him. Then I came along here to my compartment and read. I was in bed by 10:30.
Who do you share this room with?
A big Italian fellow.
Does he speak English?
A kind of English, miss. He's been in America. Chicago, I understand. He was in here playing cards with another American, a Mr. Hardman. The game broke up soon after I entered, and Mr. Hardman left.
Do you and the Italian gentleman talk together much?
No, miss. I prefer to read. At present, I'm quite enjoying Love's Captive by a Mrs. Arabella Richardson. At about 10:30, the Italian fellow wanted to go to bed, so the attendant came in and made the beds up.
Did you go to bed then?
I went to bed, but I didn't sleep, miss. I had a toothache.
I am so sorry.
9 out of 10. Ugh.
Miss, might I sit down? We've been here for hours.
I am so sorry. Was your toothache painful?
Most painful, miss. I applied some oil of cloves, which relieved the pain a little, but I still was not able to get to sleep. I turned the light on over my berth and continued to read, to take my mind off of it, as it were.
You did not sleep at all?
I finally dropped off about 4 this morning.
I don't understand why she asked like 5 questions by herself. I thought we were out, and then nope.
Did the Italian gentleman sleep?
Him? Oh, he snored. I confess I envied Mr. Ratchet his sleeping draught, miss.
Yours was a bit of a Pratchett.
But
Did your companion
My
leave
animosity
the
is growing
compartment at
towards
all
these
during the
characters.
No, miss.
night? Did you leave the compartment at all?
No, miss.
Did you hear anything during the night?
I don't think so, miss. The train being at a standstill made it all very quiet.
That will be enough.
even she's sick of... Ugh. Just going to turn my back on you now. No, don't click on him. We might have more questions. Run away.
But...
I'm sorry, miss. I'm quite tired.
Ah, thank God. Any corpses in the bathroom?
I hope so.
Nothing of interest.
Checking. It's caught me out before.
In another one, we kept checking that one bathroom like 100 times and nothing ever appeared there.
Hello.
I'll put this into my...
Yay, stealing!
Woo!
Who's in the cupboard?
I can't...
Why is everyone staring out the window today?
Say, this is mighty nice. What can I do for you?
My name is Antoinette Marceau. I'm
This is the
assisting Monsieur
nicest
Poirot with
avalanche
his
I've ever been stuck in.
investigation. You know
In
the
Texas,
name,
we don't know how
perhaps?
to do proper
Does seem
avalanches.
familiar. Only I always thought it was a dressmaker.
Why did I call
Monsieur,
summons?
for all our sakes, please do not repeat that in front of Monsieur Poirot. Do you promise
You
me?
just call him a
I
dressmaker.
think I just about promised you anything. Oh, darn it, there I go, sounding like Mr. Ratchet. You had enough of him, I expect, at the market in Istanbul. I didn't mean anything by it except, well, except it's the truth. I love your accent.
Really?
A little bit of British, a little bit of French. Darn it, there I go again.
It is not
Laugh
a problem,
on the
monsieur,
Orient
but
Express.
we must be serious now, don't you agree?
Serious, yes. Yes, of course.
Let's start with I would like to take your fingerprints.
I would like to take your fingerprints.
Would you really? Say, that's swell. I mean,
Creep?
of course. Of course you can.
Yep. These are the lines of a madman.
You are Monsieur Ratchet's secretary.
Yes, for just over a year now. I met him in Persia. I'd come over from New York to look into an oil concession. I don't suppose you want to hear all about that. Getting oil out of Persia can get pretty difficult these days.
What with the avalanches?
Anyway, my
and the-
friends and I had been let in rather badly over it. Mr. Ratchet was in the same hotel. He just had a row with his secretary, so
A
he offered me
row.
the job.
It's
He
pronounced
was collecting
row.
antiquities, but not knowing any languages, was having kind of a hard
This is
time.
what happens when you
I was pretty down
outsource
and
your
out,
voice
so I jumped
acting.
at it.
Like, yeah, just send him the tapes and make him do it over the phone. It's fine.
What can you tell me about Monsieur Ratchet?
What can you tell me about
Ratchetti.
Monsieur Ratchet?
The actual truth is, Miss Marceau, it is Miss, isn't it? Wait, don't have to answer. None of my business. The truth is, I don't
This
know
is
anything
terrible
about him.
American
He never spoke
stereotyping.
of himself or his life in America.
What, that they have, like, no tact whatsoever
May I
when
have your
flirting.
passport, please?
They're just
Sure.
like
Here you go.
blunt.
What is your full
he's
name,
so young.
age, and address?
Oh my.
Hector Willard McQueen. I'm 28. You're about what? 24, 25?
Slap him.
Your address, Monsieur McQueen?
That's right, Hector. Always saying the wrong thing. That's me. I live at 58 Warren Street, New York.
She's like 25?
I hope it's the hairstyle, or maybe he's just being flattering.
You must have formed some
might be the
theory about him,
polygons.
Monsieur McQueen.
Well,
I didn't
yes,
want
I
to
did.
say it.
For one thing, I don't believe Ratchet was his real name. I think he left America in order to escape.
He knows.
from
He
someone or
knows.
something.
Slap
He
him.
was successful until a couple of weeks ago.
Bring out your many knives.
Oh, what happened then?
He began to get letters, threatening letters.
Dun, 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 dun.
Did you see
Let's
these
get through
threatening
it.
letters?
Yes, it was part of my job to attend to his correspondence.
Do you still have the letters?
I've still got a couple in my files.
Oh, they're not in my bag anymore. Where did they go?
World's greatest detective.
How did Monsieur Ratchet act
Oh,
when
I
he
love a
received the
woman
first
who goes
letter?
through this.
It's difficult to say. He passed it off with a laugh in that quiet way of his. But somehow, I felt that there was a good deal going on underneath the quietness.
Did you know that Monsieur Ratchet had asked Monsieur Poirot to help him?
No, I had no idea.
Gosh darn. If that isn't a turn up for the books.
This is the final
Did you
question.
like your
Nope.
employer?
No, I did not.
Why not?
I can't exactly say. He was usually quite pleasant in his manner. I'll tell you the truth. Antoinette, sorry, Miss Marceau, I disliked and distrusted him. He was, I am sure, a cruel and dangerous man.
Yeah, I suspect this guy might have a very big part in it.
He's only flirting with us because he's trying to get out of this.
Were you on good terms with your employer?
This is where I'm supposed to go all goose-fleshy and shifty-eyed, right? Like some thriller? You got nothing on me! And so on? Yeah, sorry, but Ratchet and I were on perfectly good terms.
You talk
When
too
did you
much for an
last see
innocent man.
Monsieur Ratchet alive?
Last evening about 10 o'clock, I guess. Masterman fetched me. Mr. Ratchet wanted me to take down some memoranda for him.
On what subject?
Some pottery he'd bought, and a statue we were bringing back to Paris with us. It's in the baggage car.
Monsieur McQueen, you are correct. Ratchet was an alias.
I knew it! Who was he?
He was Cassetti, the man behind several notorious kidnapping cases, including the famous affair of little Daisy Armstrong.
That damn skunk! If I'd known that, I'd have cut off my right hand before I'd write another letter for him. May he burn in hell!
I didn't mean to upset you.
I have reason to be upset. My father was the district attorney who handled the case. I saw Mrs. Armstrong more than once. She was a lovely woman, so gentle and heartbroken.
Oh,
If ever a man
so
deserved what he
you
got,
were
Cassetti's the
related,
guy.
were you?
I'm rejoicing.
Interesting.
A man like that wasn't fit to live.
You almost feel you could have murdered him yourself.
Dun, dun,
I
dun,
do.
dun.
Seems
Wait
I'm
a
kind
minute.
of incriminating myself here.
You don't say.
Can you
Yay.
describe your movements last night?
Let's see. I fell into conversation with that Englishman, Colonel Arbuthnot. Then I went to take down some memoranda for letters Mr. Ratchet wanted written, like I told you. When I came out,
Can't
the
believe
colonel
it
was
was
down the
last
hall
night
waiting
still.
while the attendant made up his bed. He came along back to my room here, and we
He
discussed
progresses
world
in real
politics,
time.
the government of India, the Wall Street
Ugh.
crisis. I don't, as a rule, cotton much to Britishers. They're a stiff-necked lot. But Arbuthnot is all right.
You could stand to put some more stiff in your neck. What's this army haircut? You work in an office.
I love the way he flails his arms around when he talks.
Did you
Trying
hear
to-
or
it's
see
like he's
anyone
trying
in
to
the
sell us
corridor
something.
while you were talking?
Let's see. Yes. The attendant passed along once from the direction of the restaurant car. I caught a glimpse of his uniform. Then I do remember some woman in a silk, scarlet something or other. Again, just a glimpse. She was headed the other way, towards the restaurant car.
Did you see her return?
No, now that you mention it, I don't think I did. But I suppose she must have.
What time was it that the Colonel left you?
Pretty late. Getting on for 2 o'clock, I'd say.
I don't know whether they're trying to make us suspect him, or they're trying to let our guard down because he's such a cheerful American, but he's just so incriminating.
You know what Murder on the Orient Express really needed? A contrived love story. It only took an avalanche
To bring them together. The
You were
warmth of
together
their
when the
hearts
train
will
stopped.
save them
Yeah,
from the
shook
cold.
me up a bit. But the Colonel was as cool as
We
ice
pump our
water.
love into the
Been in
heating
some tough
pipe.
scrapes, I
We
guess.
can melt
A
the
near train
snow.
wreck didn't even make him blink.
What happened after Colonel Arbuthnot said goodnight?
I called the attendant to make up my bed, and then hit the sack.
Make your own beds.
What sack did you hit, and why?
Haha.
I went to bed. Slept till morning.
Wap, wap, wap.
Cultural disparagement.
It's never going to work between them.
Do you smoke
It was a
pipe,
futile
Monsieur
dream,
McQueen?
Mike.
Nope. Don't smoke at all, as a matter of fact. I know they say it's healthy, but I don't believe them.
During the evening, did you leave the train at all?
Only when Arbuthnot and I got out at Belgrade to stretch our legs. When we saw you. But it was bitterly cold, so we hopped back on again.
Which door did you use?
The one closest to here.
Do you remember if the door you used was bolted?
Yes, I seem to remember it was. At least there was a kind of bar that fitted across the handle.
Did you replace the bar when you returned to the train?
You know, I don't think I did. I remember now. I left it unbolted for you. Say, listen. Since we know that Ratchet was really that swine Cassetti, there's something you should know.
Yes.
One night, late, after he'd received those threatening letters, I heard him working at my typewriter. He never did that. He always dictated his letters to me. From then on, wherever we were, he insisted on access to the safe. Whatever that document was, it was important enough that he traveled with it wherever we went. If there wasn't a safe available, he had one installed. I know for a fact he had one installed in the security room in the baggage car. I saw it when we were loading his crate.
Awesome.
Do you have the combination?
If he didn't trust me to type it for him, you really think he'd give me the combination?
We're breaking
Au
in
revoir,
that safe.
monsieur.